Good evening, one and all. Just getting myself organised. Hang on just a sec. Okay, I'm with you. So we have Juanito. Hi Juanito, how are you doing? We will get there one day. I wasn't available to come this Friday, but hopefully we will get together soon. Tim, good evening. Suffolk, good evening to you. And John, thank you for joining. Oh, one and all. I am getting ready for a pipe sale, and yes, the NIRIP is going in, believe it or not. Right, let's grab a swig of coffee. How's everybody been doing? We've had a bit of a relief in terms of weather today. Weather's really cooled down, quite humid at times, but towards the evening really became quite back to normal kind of thing. What about up north? How are you all faring up there? We've still got 5 salves to go. Ooh. It's I find it's a bit potluck, you know, Tim. Sometimes my sale videos go very well, so I'm just trying to find a good spot here. Hey Chris. Yeah, so it's a bit hit and miss. Some of my sale videos go well, and some, literally, maybe I'll sell one pipe out of the whole sale. It's a bit of potluck. You know, it's a matter of timing. People's on the pipes themselves. So we'll see how it goes. I know that some of these are definitely pipes which, I mean, this particular bulldog, I've had so many people ask me about it, and you know, over the period of time that I've had it on my channel, whether it be IG or YouTube. So I'm sure there'll be quite a bit of interest. Hi John, how you doing? Been enjoying your music videos, John? Really would like to see some more of those. This thing here, this is my computer, actually. Yeah, my Dell computer. And over the years, I mean, this is just a smattering of them, but you can see the various pipe. I've had this computer quite a long time. It's probably knocking on 7, 8, maybe even 10 years old. No, maybe not that long, maybe 5 years. Anyway, you can see I haven't got any Dagner pipes anymore, but I've had a lot of Dagner pipes. There's Dagners, there's Paul Menard, Paul's Pipes, Jason Bruno, who's the guy who made this ashtray. Havana House, that's the guy who runs the shop in Windsor. Ian Walker, Northern Briars, Danish Pipe Shop. These are Jake Hackett, who had a load of his pipes. Philip Shervington from JJ Fox. Fabrizio Natalizia had a fair few of his pipes. But yeah, there's a bunch of cards on there. New song coming out soon, cool. Pipe Magic, good evening. Alright, so let me get these pipes out of the way. By the way, if anybody's interested, I don't mind just giving you a preview of the pipes that will be going up for sale. But I do want to get the YABO done. I'm excited to see what's in there. I'm not even sure what it is, because it's come from Germany. And I've been putting orders together on German pipe supply websites for getting stems and ebonite and Cumberland, briar, that kind of thing. But I don't recall actually pulling the trigger, and I'm just trying to think if my mind is playing tricks with me, and I actually did pull the trigger on one of them. But it's easy enough to do. I've got to check my emails to see if I've got any order confirmations, but I'm not 100% sure, and I haven't checked yet. But we'll open the package and see. I'm 50, you know, my brain is fried to some extent. Alright. Perhaps we'll go through the pipes a little bit later on. There will be a video going up. I know some of you guys will be bored already of my pipe sale videos. But for those true pipers amongst you, you'll just be happy to see a different variety of pipes. There's a Stanwell going up. There's a Bentley going up, Bentley by Former. There's a Moretti going up. There's a Northern Briars. Garage made pipe tool, Neomonia. Another Moretti. A Peterson. A Polish pipe. This was quite a few people were after this pipe, but didn't sell the last time. A Scorty. Caminetto, big pipe. And several others that you've seen before. Cal Delta, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. When age creeps up on us, not a good thing. Oops. Just finding my power cable. Sorry about all the noise. I was just out in the garage polishing up a few of the pipes, which I'm going to be putting in the video, so I'm a little bit rushed to get in time. I wanted to start as close as possible to 11:30. I don't like to be late. So there we go. Alright, so how many pipes do I have in all? Well, that number changes all the time, as you know. But in terms of pipes that I actually smoke, I mean, if it was interesting watching Mike from Briar Blues talking about, okay, he's a dealer, which I'm not by any stretch of the imaginations, but he says he has about 20 pipes which he considers to be part of his own collection, and then he has any time between 200 and 400 pipes in his back room, which go on his website. And based on various bits of advice that Mike has given me over the time and videos that he's done, I'm quite clear that he's pretty handy with a pipe, with repairs and restoration. Hi Joe. So I think I've been watching Mike, and I think, you know, when he first started off, hey Groovin Piper, oh John, when is the sale? As I say, I wasn't intending to do it live tonight, but I don't mind showing them, and if anybody wants to buy one on the spot, they can. Maybe we'll do that a bit later on. I want to do the YABO first. But it'll go up. I'll probably record it in the next day or two, and it'll go up on my site, and then, you know, first come, first serve, basically. Once the PayPal payment hits, it's yours. Yeah, so watching Mike's videos from Briar Blues, I reckon he's pretty handy with the restoration and doing stuff. Marco, now there's a blast from the past. How are you, my friend? Long time no speak. How's the old surgery going? You cutting people up? Good evening, Josh. I don't remember, Marco. Are you a surgeon or a nurse? I don't recall. I don't know why I thought surgeon, but might be wrong. Yeah, so as I was saying, I reckon Mike's pretty handy, and I reckon when he says he's got between 200 and 400 pipes in his back room, why aren't they on his website? You know, he has a handful at a time, and so I reckon he gets pipes not necessarily always in great condition, and he refurbishes them to look like new again. So I reckon he's pretty handy. So back to your question, how many pipes do I have? I reckon in terms of pipes that I smoke regularly, probably about 20. It varies between 20 and 30 pipes, something like that. If you like, I can give you a quick tour of the ones that I smoke. Would that be of interest? Hey Hector. We're doing very well. We're going to do a YABO soon. I got a package in today from Germany, which I'm not quite sure what it is. I have been on quite a few German sites recently, and I can't for the life of me remember if I've actually pulled the trigger on an order, because I've got quite a few different German websites with I've got shopping lists in the basket, if you like, but I don't recall actually pulling the trigger on any of them. A couple of sites in particular which have pipe making supplies. I don't know, as I said, my brain is a bit fried. Oh, it's from you. Really? Okay, cool, that was quick. Alright, well, we're going to open that very soon. That solves the mystery anyway. Right, now let's just get to the pipes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so I mean there may be a few knocking around, but there's 25 here. There's a couple in my bag which I have in the car. So like I said, between 20 and 30 I was pretty accurate. So I'll quickly run through what we have. So we have the panelled Ascolti, which I basically have been using for amphora, is when I first started using it. Sorry, let me just move that lot. Coffee stains, disgusting. No, that doesn't improve the lighting. I've moved my desk around, so the lighting seems to have had an effect. It seems to have had an effect on the lighting, which is not as great as I would like. Let me just see if I can move my other lamp nearer. Alright, that's a bit better. Square shanked Ascolti business. So this one is kind of sort of codger style aromatics. So when I say codger, I say that in inverted commas because they're not necessarily old storied blends. So yeah, so this one was amphora full aroma. It's where I discovered amphora. It was with this pipe, and even though I don't smoke it as often as I used to, it's still a pipe which I smoke and I will keep for the foreseeable. This is the Guard Hill, which I recently converted myself. Really nice pipe. I don't smoke it that often, but it's a pipe which I'm keeping. This is, well, for now anyway. I say that with every pipe, for now. This is, cheers John. This is the Tom Phillips Bulldog Cumberland stem. This is a custom-made pipe he made for me. This is the Soren Refberg egg, one of my favourite shapes of pipe that I have. I should really try and make one myself. This is I smoked this for quite a long time. This is 9mm, and well, they're all 9mm, and I couldn't get a decent smoke out of a Virginia tobacco with this pipe. Moved it onto Latakia and it smokes perfectly well. So very happy with that little transfer. This is a Boswell pipe which I've got a temporary stem on, because I converted this to 9mm as well. Hopefully I won't embarrass myself with a dirty filter, no. So I converted that one and put a temporary stem. It's a Tom Phillips stem actually, but that one smokes northwards awesomely. This is actually my second ever pipe. This is a 616 Sav, 9mm, and this I use for aromatics. It was mostly used for Blood Red Moon. This is also a Latakia pipe. This is a Peterson. This is the pipe I bought recently for the Pipe Club of London smoke competition, in which I came third. But I think it was a bit of a setup. I think people were being kind to me. Yeah, so that's a Peterson 9mm. This is probably my best smoking pipe of all my pipes. I don't smoke it as often because I'm not smoking Latakia that much these days. It's a Latakia pipe. It's a GBD Jubilee, a pot, and it smokes like an absolute freight train. I can smoke it heavy, I can smoke it slow, I can smoke it any way I like. It will smoke perfectly. Great little pipe, and I bought this on eBay for about £40. This is an Astley, and this was actually made 9mm. It's got beautiful grain on it. Good evening, McFlowson. Very nice grain. And this is also a Latakia pipe, so it also doesn't get smoked so often, but it's gorgeous. Next up, does it have the stamp? Which stamp are you talking about? There's a stamp there. GBD. It's a bit faint, but it's there. I don't think it's that old, to be honest. And it's got some kind of... hang on. It's got... I imagine this is electromagnetic plating, whatever they call it. It says on it, London made 526. If that means anything to you, I know nothing about the history. Hector, does that mean anything? London made 526? This is a pipe I made myself. It's a nice little pot, short smoke, and I've smoked mostly Erinmore in there probably. Nice little piece of briar, some nice flame grain there, and a little bit of rustication over some sand pits. And I've written on this one LC18, London Calling 18. And then we have the Bentley Hector by Former, of course. And this smokes mostly McClelland Virginias and does so with aplomb. Not the fruit, aplomb, but aplomb. A-P-L-O-M-B. And this is the Parker Billiard. Beautiful sandblast on this one. Also smokes Virginias mostly. Lovely ring grain. Pick this up. Incidentally, do any of you know, I was reading an article in an old episode, an old Pipe Collector magazine. I was very lucky. I got in touch with the Pipe Collector. I registered and became one of the subscribers. There's an annual registration fee of, it's a pittance. I think it's either $10 or $20. I can't remember. And they send you the email version of their magazine. I got in touch with them and I asked them if they would be prepared to email me some older copies, which they did. So I've started reading them out. I'm printing them out one by one and reading them. And one of them talks about the more you smoke a sand-blasted pipe, the deeper it becomes, the more craggy it becomes. And I'm just wondering if anybody's heard that before. And I'm just looking at this pipe. I haven't really studied that, from that point of view before. And I'm thinking this area here is looking craggier. And I'm just wondering with use if more of the briar wears away between the rings. I'm wondering if the softer parts of the briar sort of get deeper. I don't know. To me, it just didn't make any sense when I read that. It's the first I'd ever heard of it. Anyway, so this one I had converted by Northern Briars. A fantastic pipe. And then I have this RC Sands, a very nice pipe. It's a very rustic looking pipe. It's it's not made with any airs and graces, but it smokes very, very well, and I like it for its peccadillos, if you like. Had this converted with an embarrassing dirty filter. Disgusting. And great pipe. Which this one looks like one of mine. And I reckon that what they mean is that by the more you smoke it, and the more rounded perhaps the grain becomes, because just by holding it in your hand and you're just rounding off the sharper edges. I reckon that's what it must be they're talking about. As I agree with you, it doesn't make any sense, although I'm saying it without any knowledge, but on the surface of it, it just doesn't seem logical. Yeah, exactly, John. Hi, John Bragg. Welcome. But I reckon that's what's happening. This is another Tom Phillips, which is a custom-made, kind of... No, it's not really a bulldog, is it? Freehand. And this was 9mm, but I re-drilled it because it wasn't smoking very well. I re-drilled the draft hole, and it's a great smoker now. It just needed a little bit more air. So I re-drilled it, and it's a cleaner draft hole, and it's a little bit broader. I think it was a really, really narrow. I don't think he would have used a tapered drill bit. It was about 2mm or something like that, and 2mm, well, 1.5mm, 2mm max, I would say, is okay for the bit end. 2mm is probably too much, but that kind of region is okay. But to drill all the way through with that, when I originally bought his pipes, I thought that was an advantage, but I don't think so anymore. Hey, Painkiller, how you doing? And finally, last but not least, is this little beautiful apple by Fabrizio Natalizia. Also a custom ordered pipe, which I've had for quite some time now. Also a Latakia pipe. So let me get these out of the way, and we can get cracking with Hector's package. I've been waiting to reveal Hector's package for a long time. Okie dokie. Tim, one track mind. Really? Come on. Okie dokie. So here's the box. Quite a big box. Give you an idea. There it is. Occasionally think of food too. Well, we'll soon find out, Hector. You know me, straight. Alright, well, I've unsealed it, but yet to unpack it. So it is rather exciting. We have a note. Oh, it's an invoice. Well, thanks, Hector. Do you want me to pay for this as well? Wow, that's a lot of money. Okay, I'm not going to read that because I want to see it when I take the stuff out. Oops, dropped you all. It's nicely packed. Ooh. Look at this, everybody. Look at that package of goodness. Oh my goodness. Right, I've seen that. Okay, move this out of the way. Alright, now. Yeah, I worked that out, Hector. I worked that out. I really appreciate it. Fantastic. So, this must be a little sample they've included. The Mellow Mallard. That smells like a fruity. A Romeo y Julieta lighter. Very sweet. Ein Verkauf-exklusiver Pfeifen, neu und gebraucht. Estervel's Pipe House. Oh, you mentioned this the other day, Hector, didn't you? Very nice. Good to have this contact information. And we have some sweeties. Probably not kosher. Alright, let's get into this. First, we have W.O. Larson Craftsman Edition, 125 Years of Excellence. Nice box. Right. Während des 19. Jahren des, I can't read this, gewann der Tabaken von Wilhelm Uckenholt Larsen in der Innenstadt von Kopenhagen, in den Reihen der Nobles und des alles an... I can't read this. We have face of making you read. Made in Denmark, Scandinavian Tobacco Group. Black Cavendish. Really? Wow. Cool. I mean, I wouldn't have personally gone for a W.O. Larson, which I'm going to assume is a aromatic, but Black Cavendish tobacco is what it says. Oh, hang on. Virginia Burley and Black Cavendish. Mundle note. Oh, it's got mundle, which is almond, I think. Okay. It smells nice. It looks like a typical Virginia Burley, yeah, with a bit of Cavendish in there. It does smell like almond, like that kind of thing, amaretto kind of idea. Very generous, Hector, they are, I must say, if you didn't order this. Don't be embarrassed. Any freebie is generous. Alright. First up, Robert McConnell's Latakia Flake. Kohlhaas and Kopp. Very nice. Okay. I take it these are blends which you want me to try, which you have tried and you think I will like. Robert McConnell, the blends of theirs that I've tried seem to be pretty good quality, and seeing as it's a flake, that's certainly going to be trying something to try. Oh, now we're talking. Original warehouse blend, Louisiana broken. I think these are some of the ones which you mentioned last time. HU Tobaccos, Hans Wiedemann, Sudenstraße 20. Virginia, Kentucky Perique. That does sound delicious. We may even crack this one tonight. Let's see what the other ones are first. Another one? Yeah, we'll definitely crack one tonight. Awesome. Imagine. Virginia Perique. Ooh. Hector, you know me too well. You can get to know me better. And we have yet another one. Director's Cut. Virginia Burley Perique, Kentucky. I see where you're going with this. This is very interesting. So really and truly, the way to go is to start with the Virginia Perique, go to the Kentucky Perique, and then the Virginia Burley Perique, Kentucky, and see how they all differ. Would you say that's a worthy journey, Hector? This one's been opened, just by the way, or at least it hasn't been sealed very carefully. Well, they're all going to get opened. These are. I've got to try them all. Hector, what an awesome package. Super generous, Hector. Really, way over and above. You've spent a lot of money there. And I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. Open the director's cut and just have a look. No, I understand that, Hector. Don't worry about it. These things happen. But I'm truly grateful. It's really very generous. Good evening, Andrew. The website for these is Andreas, no, that's his email address, estervelspipehouse.de, which is for Deutschland. www.estervelspipehouse.de. Hector, phenomenal. Which one do you think I should start with, Hector? Imagine all Louisiana broken. So I'm really just thinking that what I said before, which is I should just take the sort of the progression from Virginia to Perique to the Virginia, the Kentucky Perique, and then do the other one. I'm just curious to know why you sent me two of these as opposed to any of the others. Is this your favorite, or do you think this I would like this the most? Was there any rationale behind that? Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop this one now, and then perhaps, time permitting, we'll pop the other one. Perhaps we'll do two of them tonight. Put these away, out the way. And the Latakia Flake's also interesting. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. I'm going to do the Imagine first. Imagine all the people smoking tobacco. Alright, enough of that. Sang it, son, sang it. American Idol, here I come. Choose me, choose me. Whoa. Oh, dang it, that smells good. Night, Suffolk. All the best. Thanks for joining. That is a gorgeous looking tobacco. That is a real broken flake. Now that is a broken flake. In fact, that is a broken flake. It's a flake that's broken. Yeah. That is my type of tobacco. It's got such a fruity, plummy... This is the aroma, for me, pour moi, is a ringer for Dunhill Navy rolls. Good evening, Snake. Alright, we'll let that sit for a few minutes. And this is a pipe I finished just the other day. And somebody has actually commissioned another one, which is very cool. I've had an email, and I've even sent him a price, and he seemed very happy with it. And we're going to get that underway soon. Yeah. Hey Joe, some real flame green. Don't be afraid of the Germans. No, not afraid. I was going to say a really nasty joke, but I decided against it. Say it. I was going to say they make great tobacco because they've got a lot of experience with combustion, but just wasn't sure if people would take that well. I could say it. If somebody else said it, I might say they're being, you know. Somehow I don't think my grandmother would have allowed me to say that one. In fact, I never ever saw my grandmother raise a hand to anybody, but I think if I would have said that in her presence, she may well have. Seems to be anything goes these days. On the other hand, in some ways, nothing goes anymore. You can't do anything. Yeah, apparently they do blow up, don't they? And you know what I say about the Irishman who burnt his lips? And this goes back to a bit of British history with Ireland and the terrorism that was going on. So you heard about the Irishman who burnt his lips. To be sure, he burnt them blowing up. No, I've got it all wrong now. He burnt his lips on the exhaust pipe, basically. Trying to blow it up. But the accent was alright. Alright, fair enough. So tell us a typically Basque joke. I mentioned this in one of my videos. I was really curious to see how they're smoked given how thin the walls are. And I was kind of sort of talking about the L-Tang pokers, which are also extremely thin. And I thought this would be like steaming hot. I wouldn't be able to touch it, wouldn't be able to smoke it. But it actually smokes very, very well. Didn't have that problem at all. Where are my matches? I'm so well organised. Hey Chad. So, and what did they say? What are you chewing? I have smoked a Falcon. Somebody gifted me 2 of them actually a while back, probably a couple of years ago, and I didn't enjoy it, so I haven't smoked them since. I think I've given one away, or possibly even both of them. Right, let's get this lit. I've been smoking this almost non-stop since I made it. It's a shame you didn't tell me sooner, Cal Delta. What a shame. Need to refill that. The other new one sold. I had no intention of selling it, but I was contacted by somebody. I'm sure you guys will see it soon. It's gone to a member of the YTPC. And I mentioned the price, and they grabbed it. So, I don't know, maybe I undercharged, I don't know. But I hope he likes it. I'm sure we'll see it soon. We'll see his reaction when he gets it. So no, I haven't smoked it. Well, I'm sure I'll be making more. I'll be exploring different shapes probably, but I think that over the foreseeable future what I'll be doing is refining that shape and getting it to where I wanted it to be. It's not perfect, I made that clear. I sent him lots of pictures beforehand. In the video I said it wasn't perfect, definitely had issues with it, and even some people commented to say that I'm too critical. But you know, you have to be if you want to produce a good product. Indeed you do, Josh. That one also came out really nice. Again, it wasn't perfect. I think if I remember, the one thing which stood out for me on that one, which should have been better, was the countersink on the shank. At the time it was obviously blunt, and I've since spent quite a bit of money on an expensive countersink, which does a perfect countersink. Shouldn't really open this. There, you can see that countersink there, and that's without any sanding or anything like that. Perfect countersink. I'm sure you could sort it out yourself, Josh. You're more handy than I am. But if you want to send it back, I'm more than happy to do it. And I don't remember if I stamped my stamp on it, but I can do that as well. I was wondering if you were going to do a video, Andrew. I look forward to seeing it. I'm glad it arrived safe, and I'm glad you're happy with the extras, which I'm sure we'll see on the video. I sent out 2 pipes on Friday. One was the new pipe that I just made, which I've just been speaking about. I also included a couple of new tobaccos, which have recently come to the market. Well, no, one has recently come to the market, and one is new to me, which I enjoy a lot. I also enclosed one of my tampers that I made. And then I also sent a pipe to America. Both pipes went to America. The second one went to somebody who actually bought a pipe, and I'd forgotten about it. And it was only when I was looking in my drawer for some bits and bobs to put in the package that I saw the pipe sitting there. So I put some tobacco and a tamper in there as well, by way of a consolation, because it had been sitting, he'd paid for it, and I'd completely forgotten about it. So I'm now completely up to date with all my sold pipes. I still have some giveaway pipes which I have to send out. I'm glad to hear it, Josh. I should really make some more of those pokers. I still need to master one thing, which is to make them a proper sitter. I mean, it does sit, but it only sits because it's obviously quite flat. But I would like it to sit in a canted position, so it has to be quite a lot more canted. The issue that I have with that is that I would have to basically make the shank much higher up. I just have to sort of plan it better in advance. Hey, Tree, how you doing? Yeah, could be less meat in the shank as well, which will make the balance easier for it to be bowl heavy. I got what's his name told me that as well, Jeremiah from Australia. He's been giving me quite a lot of mentoring, sort of on IG, which I appreciate. But this one in particular, there's a bit of a shape. This isn't just random. There is a bit of a shape to this, where it's sort of narrow and gets a little bit broader. And the main reason for that was because the stem that I used was broader. And I suppose I could have taken it down, but I didn't want to risk spoiling it. I've got some other stems which have come in, and I'm going to be ordering more stems. I'm also going to be ordering some stem material so I can make some more myself. I really need a lot of practice with that. It's just so flipping time consuming making a stem. You know, when you buy a fully handmade pipe, including the stem, from an artisan carver, and they want to charge you $300, $400, $500, that's why. It's the amount of time. I would say on for instance, this pipe here, this billiard, which I made, and I made the stem as well, and it came out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. I made a couple of errors, but not too critical. This one, because it was 9mm and the peg was too deep, I ended up cutting into it a little bit there, but I filled that with some glue and it smokes perfectly well. It's a great pipe. I really enjoy smoking it. But there's a big learning curve when it comes to making stems. A lot to learn. I've also recently started doing wet sanding, which I never did before, and that also makes a difference to the finish of the stems. But it's very time consuming. I think I spent more time on this stem than on the rest of the pipe. So the stem is a huge part of the hand making of a pipe. And so what I did on a pipe recently was, in order not to have the danger of messing up the stem, I trimmed the peg, the 9mm peg. I basically cut it shorter and then glued it in, and it was fine. The Saranov. I hope so, Andrew. I certainly hope so. I'm not scared of making the mistakes, but you know, the video that I did of that stem that I mashed up, I won't lie. I was, maybe heartbroken might be too strong a word, but I was extremely upset at the time. And in the video, I'd literally just done it. I'd literally just messed it up at the time when I was recording it, and I was close to expletives, let's put it that way. Reverse calabash is interesting, Cal Delta. I did have a couple. I had a gorgeous one from, it was a pot from the Dagners. Actually, I think Stephen bought that. Cobbett of the Shire. Don't see him smoking those pipes really very much. He tends to be smoking the Churchwarden style pipes mostly. But I don't personally buy into the reverse calabash. I just don't think they actually do anything. I think the concept is nice. In my experience, maybe some people do, but in my own personal experience, I haven't really seen a benefit. I'd much rather get a 9mm pipe and smoke that. 9mm and reverse calabash. Well, yeah, that is a rarity. Maybe that would be super easy to smoke in terms of tongue bite. Well, we look forward to seeing you try that, maybe. If you do, Hector, it'd be interesting to see what you think about it. Okay, in terms of this tobacco, this is the Imagine HU tobacco, which part of Hector's awesomely generous package. A very nice looking tobacco, for those who didn't see it before. Lovely broken flake, almost to a ribbon cut. And it's got a beautiful aroma, very similar to Dunhill Navy rolls. It's very smooth, very easy. I don't get a huge perique kick, so to speak. It must be quite a light touch, but there definitely is some. Get a little bit of a tingle from it, but nothing spectacular. I have to bear in mind, of course, that this is a new pipe, and it's had a fair few bolts through it, but still, it's still a very new pipe. And presumably this will improve with jarring up and a bit of age. But it's a fairly run-of-the-mill vapor, based on my initial half a bowl. It's perfectly nice, but I think the perique is very light, and the Virginias need time to mature. Retrohale gives a nice peppery, sort of a light peppery. It's not chili heat. It's just peppery, and that's nice. That works well. But I think it's getting a little bit richer as you get down the bowl. But for me, on the Virginia front, there's a little bit missing in the middle ground. It's almost like there's just that final touch of richness which is needed to round it off. And I think that will come with a bit of age. Well, HU, from what I've seen, I've got a fantastic reputation. What's that, Tim? Is there a good B&M shop with a good selection in London or somewhere else in England? Most of the tobacconists here will have a decent range of Germains. Hey, David. But in terms of B&Ms, I've seen a couple of blends at Mike Billington's little shop at Blakemar Briars. My Smoking Shop, which is a website, they also have a shop, and they have all the Germain's blends pretty much. Any of the websites which have a shop as well, whatever they stock on the website presumably would be available in the shop. What's the pipe in the rack behind the tobacco on the right as we look at it? I actually didn't go through these ones in my rack when we went through my rotation. So this is, I'll go through them quickly. This is Stanwell from 2006. I think it was the pipe of the year from Stanwell. It's a nice acorn shape, a nice sandblast and ring grain. This is Savinelli autograph. Oh, the Ascolti. Also beautiful ring grain on this one. This was an eBay find and really good price and smokes fantastically well. I was lucky enough that it wasn't Latakia and it wasn't granny pants, so I smoked my Virginias and Vapors in that. This is an Ascolti. This one was special edition Christmas 1997. Also a great smoker. This one I smoke when I'm really looking for a very subtle smoke, a very relaxed smoke where I'm not stressed in any way and I can just sit back and sip on a tobacco. It's a very, very comforting pipe to smoke. Next one is the Helix, which I've been smoking a lot of recently in Northern Briars. Beautiful Cumberland stem in there. I've got no idea how it does this, but obviously it's turning on the lathe with some type of skill which I'm not aware of. Another Northern Briars, the Quebec this is called, he calls it. Nice bit of grain. And then there's this one, which is the one I made, the Billiard. And then we have the Chacom, I guess you'd call it a Danish Dublin. There's some lovely grain on it. Cumberland stem. An Ultra Stanwell. Very well smoked. I should clean that rim a bit. This is a 2002 pipe of the year from Stan. Whoops, Stan. Oh, there's tobacco in there. How embarrassing. And this one is also a Stanwell, but it's unbranded for some reason. So maybe a Seconds, which I bought on the. It was new, unsmoked, but without any branding on it. No nomenclature, but clearly a Stanwell. And from the Danish pipe shop. It smokes very well. So that's my rotation. So what did I say it was before? 25 pipes. Oh, and here's my bag. So let's see what's in this one. So this is a Boswell Bent Apple, which is a Latakia pipe, which I had converted by Mr. Marco Biagini, is it? Biagani, something like that. Anyway, Moretti pipes. Shame it's not stamped. Yeah, well, as long as it smokes well. It was, I can't remember what I paid for it. I think it was about 65 euros, possibly. Something like that. The 2002, is that this one? Yeah, it is a good pipe. I got that one. I don't remember how long ago it was. It was maybe a year or two ago. And the Danish pipe shop had received a huge collection of pipes from somebody. I don't know if it was somebody who had passed or somebody who just decided to sell up. And he had a whole load of unsmoked pipes, not just Stanwell. And I picked up. This is when I picked this one up. I was kicking myself because there was 2 or 3 of this year, this pipe of the year. The guy had obviously bought a few of them. The other one that was on there was a slightly more bulbous shape, more of an apple shape, and I decided not to buy it because of the weight. And at that stage I wasn't into Stanwell. It was the first one of the series of Stanwells that I bought. I'd only had one Stanwell beforehand and I didn't really enjoy it. I sold it. It was a pickaxe. I sold that one. That wasn't filtered either. That's probably why I sold it, actually. So this was the first one, but by the time I realised how good it was and tried to go back to get more, obviously all the good ones had sold. Right, let's open the next one. Not quite ready to smoke it yet, but let's get it on the road. Very similar presentation. Broken flake. Oh. In terms of the aroma, a very interesting aroma. It's got quite a bit of a baked goods kind of aroma in there, bit of earthiness. There's a very interesting aroma for smelling there. I'm trying to get my nose around it. It's like a tangy, chocolatey, orangey kind of aroma. That's very, very interesting. Good night, Magic. Thanks for joining. Sorry, I've still got my nose in the tin. It's got an interesting, very interesting aroma. It reminds me of something that I've eaten in the past. It's got a very foody kind of smell. It's got it's like a raisin fruity kind of pastry kind of smell. Good night, Marco. Thanks for joining. That really does smell delicious. I got this dock worker from Austrian Piper. Smoked it a bit, quite nice. You've been storing these in the paint can tin because they seem to hold okay. Do you have preference with these? I have no idea what you're talking about, Andrew. You lost me. I don't know if it's typos or Americanisms, but I don't know what you're saying. You don't put them in the jar. It depends how quickly you're smoking it, I guess. The HU cans, right. Yeah, it depends how quickly you're smoking it, and I don't know, it doesn't seem to be airtight, to be honest. But I honestly don't know. Hector could probably tell you better, because I haven't had these very long. I've only had them about 10 hours. But I'll be honest with you, a lot of my tobaccos, if I'm smoking them often enough, I just leave them out on my little side table in the tin. The tin is part of the sort of the ritual for me. When I'm sort of sitting wondering what I'm going to smoke, it has quite that visual aesthetic has quite an influence on what I'm going to smoke. Obviously the flavour and the preferences, yes, but the tin's also a part of the picture for me. So if it's something which I smoke regularly and I feel it's not going to completely dry out, then I'll leave it in the tin. And if it's something which I then go off sort of and I don't smoke as much, then I'll stick it in a Tupperware container in the tin and keep it in the tin. I don't jar up that much anymore, but if I get something in large amounts, then I do. So for instance, the vintage flake which I got from the Danish pipe shop, I jarred that up straight away because it's something which I'm fairly confident that I'll smoke regularly. And I know that I'll get through it, so I don't worry too much, especially since my own blend from the Danish pipe shop, the tins are kind of generic tins. There's no tin art to speak of, so I just jarred those up straight away. And certainly bulk tobaccos will get jarred. The 1820 flake that I got recently, that's been jarred up. I bought a 500 gram bag, one of the gold bags. So half of it I've jarred and half of it I'm keeping to send stateside soon or at some point. Got somebody in mind for that. But I will tell you, the Tupperware, see, if the tin is good, which these seem to be better than the average tin, the Dunhills and that kind of thing. I don't find the Dunhills, see, because when you're, in a way, this does feel really tight, I must be honest. So Hector, I'd probably agree with you on that. But the other round tins, the problem with it is that when you open it, you break the seal and you distort the seal. So the average tin, you've got this little groove here, you stick your blade in and twist to open it. If you don't twist, then you can somehow unscrew it. If you're Samson and you can unscrew it, then you've got a chance maybe you could screw it back tight again. But once you twist that, you've lost the airtight, any kind of chance of it being airtight again. So I find that these do need to go into an airtight container, into your Tupperware or something like that. But I agree with you, Hector, the Dunhill tins, they don't hold moisture once you've opened them. And those I do tend to put straight into a Tupperware container. If I'm not jarring it, they will go into a Tupperware container, even in the short term, because those dry out. It depends on the blend. So for instance, Dunhill Navy Rolls, I would not leave out, more than say a week. I would put them either into a jar or put them in the tin in a Tupperware container. Alright, swig of coffee. Okay, I think we're going to go for this one. Virginia, Kentucky, Perique. Yeah, I've got a couple of those kind of tins, Cal Delta. I've never opened them. A little bit too historic to open. I've got some which are, they've got a seal which you turn with a key to break the seal. And some with the that little tab thing that you run around the rim. I've never actually opened one of those. Swig of that. It's a good cleanser. Is that the Robert McConnell one you're talking about, Andrew? The one that he's just given me? I didn't think you would do that to me, Hector, to be honest, no. But if you do need somebody to send it to, Andrew's your man. Andrew's a sucker for rabbit hutch bedding. No, it doesn't sound like I will, and to be honest, that penny farthing, that presentation, looks too hot to smoke. Oh, the aroma that I'm getting off this is like tea, like black tea. The room note. Cisco in the house. How you doing, Cisco? Is this an English style tobacco? Like no flavourings? Are you still buffing up and cleaning up those Pope pipes? Or are you done with those? Definitely get the Kentucky coming through on this tobacco, but still, it's really the blending seems to have been done with a very sort of gentle hand, very well balanced. You know, I think obviously I'm only a couple of minutes in, but for me, the interplay of the Perique and the Kentucky is where it's at, and it's creating quite a unique flavour. I'm smoking HU tobacco, Louisiana Broken, which Hector gifted me amongst several tins. Very generous gift. So we're just trying. We've tried the Virginia Perique. I've just tried that in this pipe here, and it's a very nice vapor, but for me it was unremarkable. But this Virginia Kentucky Perique, I could see this being an anytime smoke, a daily smoke for me. It really hits all the spots. Sid Vicious. It's quite spicy as well. You know what it is? I think that when I moved over to 9mm pipes and was able to smoke Virginia-based tobaccos, so I kind of fell in love with Virginia Periques straight away, and experimented with various other Virginia-based tobaccos, and then more recently I've come back to just Virginias and been enjoying them and kind of enjoying the subtleties of different Virginia blends. And the Virginia Periques were kind of getting a little bit boring for me. They were getting a little bit samey, and I've kind of not smoked those as much. But this blend lifts it with having that Kentucky in there. It just makes it something different, and it makes it a little bit more unique and interesting. It takes that Perique flavour and it lifts it. It gives it a little bit of an additional dimension, and it just makes it. It gives it a unique flavour. I'm going to have to go for that third one tonight, I think, Hector. Gotta try them all, man. Gotta go for the triumvirate. So what has that one got extra? Is it burley? Yeah. Well, if that one's got the burley in it, that one might be the downfall, we'll see. There's a little bit of a tingle on the tongue, a little bit of a numbing type sensation on the tongue. Or a happy ending, yeah, we'll see. I'll tell you what, loads of smoke, produces a lot of smoke. This is a very satisfying blend. Josh. They haven't shown the pipe yet, Andrew. They're doing a 20th anniversary, I think it is, or 50th anniversary, sorry, of the Pipe Club, and they're getting a pipe. I think it's from Mastro de Paya, if I'm not mistaken, and it will be a very special pipe. Obviously, being 50th anniversary, I'm reliably informed. Well, I had a hint. Nothing told me overtly, but I think it's going to have a lot of silver on it. And most of the pipes have got silver on it, but because it's the 50th anniversary, I just have the impression that it's going to have a lot of silver on it. There's not a lot of sweetness about this blend. There is a sweet edge to it, but it's not sweetness per se. So again, I think with this one, a little bit of aging, and that sweetness, and it should enrich, and it should get a little bit more, depth to the Virginias. And given the popularity of HU tobaccos, I would imagine that these are not that old. I should really write an article for the club magazine. I don't know why I haven't yet. Perhaps just talk about my tobacco journey. John Green, the treasurer, he keeps saying that he's going to put some of my pipes on the website. Maybe they are. I haven't actually looked at the website in ages. Hey Rustic. Well, Pipe and Tamper, when he first started doing his podcasts, he actually reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to join. At the time, he hadn't actually done any, and he was asking me to be one of his first ones. And regrettably, I declined at the time because I didn't know what it was all about, and I just wasn't interested. But perhaps now I would. At least I've got something to talk about now, which is, my journey and moving into pipe making and that kind of thing. At the time when I first started, I was pretty green. I suppose I didn't think I had much to offer, but not that I have much to offer now, but at least I can talk about what I've been doing over the past 3.5, 4 years. Well, if he asks, we'll see. But there will be a very interesting announcement on my channel in the near future, which is related to the YTPC generally. I can't say anything about it now, but with all the discussion about the YouTube restrictions getting worse, and with the possibility, hey Dwarven, thank you, and with the possibility that people are worried, no, that's not, that is not about to happen, Hector. With the recent worries about the restrictions becoming more final, and that the YTBC essentially would be destroyed by YouTube. So there is light on the horizon. The YouTube pipe community is just something so unique. Many of us have spoken about it in the past on our channels. And I think it would be a great shame if that would go by the wayside. Cliffhanger indeed. Yeah, I've heard people talking about Facebook and Instagram banning all tobacco content. It's the demonetization which I guess has got people's imaginations running away with them. And for two reasons, I think that, and I hope, let's put it this way, I hope that it won't happen. Number one is that tobacco in itself is not such a small industry, but the YouTube pipes, the YTPC, is a very small blip on the YouTube map. So for them to care about it is almost insignificant. It would be very odd if they cared about it. But it's all about, and Ben, the old soul, was right. When he did his video about it, he brought up a point which I hadn't thought of, which is that it's all about their advertisers. and it's presumably they're getting pressure from their existing advertisers who spend big money on YouTube, not wanting to be associated with tobacco. And if they say switch them off, they're going to listen. If they're getting millions of pounds in revenue from big companies, then they're going to have to listen to them. Why those big companies would care about it, I don't know. Well, you guys are on the right track. In the fullness of time, it will become quite clear. There are efforts afoot. The key is being proactive rather than needing to be reactive. Because if it ever came to pass that YouTube did shut shop on tobacco, trying to react and create something, an environment, and a sort of an ecosystem for the pipe community, would be very hard to do it in a way which would mean that you don't lose lots of people by the wayside. But if you have something up and running beforehand and you can do a transition, that's a big difference. That's a very good point, Andrew. I don't know. I mean, the algorithms are so advanced. You'd think that they could categorize the whole of YouTube. I don't know why they don't. I suppose the difficulty that they've got is that the monetization side of things works for them, and they have to have some kind of control over that, otherwise it gets out of control. And I can understand the market influences and market pressures that they've got from their big customers. I can understand that they're a business. At the end of the day, they've got to make money. So whilst you might think it's impinging on your civil rights and that kind of thing, go elsewhere. You know, it's a private enterprise. They're entitled to do whatever they like. But the difficulty that they will have is that for the rest of the YouTube content, where it's uncategorized, and if some of it is on the edge and some of it is kind of for whatever reason it might be, whether it's adult content or whatever it might be, if that's just left out there sort of without any controls, then it kind of, if you like, gives a bad name to the rest of it, which is to some degree controlled. Absolutely, Hector, that's exactly what it is. And they're entitled to do that if that's what they want. We may not see the sense of it, and it may be very frustrating for those rock and roll fans, but people do what they want. It's their business. They can do what they like. Right, coming back to this tobacco, this is the Kentucky Perique, Virginia Kentucky Perique, which is the Louisiana Broken. If I didn't know different, I would say that there's some burley in this, because the second half of the bowl I definitely get a burley type flavour. It kind of loses that essence which it has in the beginning. The first half of the bowl really had that interesting sort of play between the Perique and the Kentucky and the Virginias. Really nice, sweet tea, baked goods kind of flavours. and that's kind of gone. Yeah, I agree, Hector. Yeah. So all of the processing of the burley, which has created the Kentucky or the Perique, is kind of evaporated, if you like, or maybe it's getting down into the base tobacco. If that makes any sense. Alright, that's 2 down the hatch. This is becoming a bit of a tobacco tasting marathon. They do have a really strong seal, so Hector, I'm sure that you're right in terms of the. Okay, next, Virginia Burley Perique, Kentucky. If the order of this is anything to go by, I'm not going to enjoy this. If the constituent parts are based on that order, which means that the number 2 content is burley. Spiro, have a wonderful rest of the evening. Thank you for joining. Well, that one opened easy. Ooh, curlies. Little coins. Reminds me a little bit of cabbage mixture, the size of those coins, or dark twist. In terms of aroma, a little bit more earthy, a little bit more of a dusty kind of aroma in there, but it's got that sweet spiciness as well, but much lighter. Still got that baked goods kind of sweet baked goods. Yes, Hector has led a very wide and varied life in his young life of 33 years. Alioth, Senator, hello. Claude, how you doing? Okay, so the aroma, the tin note on this one is quite similar. Well, it's somewhere in between the Imagine and the Louisiana Broken, but it's not so astringent, it's not so acidic. The Louisiana Broken had a much sort of brighter aroma. Definitely got more of an earthy, mulchy kind of farmyard aroma to it, but not totally farmyard. It's definitely got that Louisiana. Why do we always put a high-pitched voice on, like a chicken being strangled when we say Louisiana? All right. So it looks like it's like a mixture of curlies and flake broken up. Let's try and get a good mix of colours. Quite a bit of bright tobacco in there, presumably the burleys. Quite a bit drier. This tobacco is ready to smoke. And I wonder if I'll get more of a nicotine hit from this one. Yeah, I can't do American accents. Yeehaw! Good night, McFlowson. Thank you for joining. Right, I'm just going to have a little bit of a nana just to get some energy before I take the hit. Please talk amongst yourselves. Josh, you've definitely been watching too many videos. Together with Hector, no doubt. Alright, that's one nana down the hatch. Wife and kids away since Monday, you lucky devil. I'm surprised you're watching this. Gives a new meaning to pipe porn. I can see the headline now. PGPPS. Pipe grump, pipe porn scandal. I look forward to it, Josh. Share it on your channel. Virginia, Perique, Burley, and what? What's the other one? Be with you in a sec, guys. 1 strawberry yogurt down the hatch. I think we're ready. I've heard a lot of good things about the McBrown Burley Flake. I haven't tried it yet, for obvious reasons. Although people do tell me that it is a very good quality burley. Okie dokie. I think I've already put a filter in, just check. Stoved luxury twist flake, as in home stoved, or is there a blend called stoved luxury twist flake? A bit of the cleanser, and we can get cracking. Can't beat a flake. I do like a flake. Yeehaw! I got a new bandsaw blade in today from Axminster. If you like the quick, you like the flake. I like that. When I was sanding one of the pipes, I think it was Thursday or Wednesday, there was an almighty bang in the garage, and I didn't know what it was. I thought something had fallen on the roof. And I was looking everywhere and I couldn't find anything. And I'd realised that I'd left the bandsaw on. There was nothing there. It hadn't didn't hit anything or anything like that, but the bandsaw was just churning away. And it snapped. It had this almighty twang. I got the shock of my life. I jumped out of my seat. But it had snapped, and it was kind of trying to turn, but it couldn't because the blade had caught. So I hope nothing untoward has happened. I turned it off. I ordered a new blade, and that arrived today. So I've got to put that in tomorrow. And I hope it'll be alright. And the blade I ordered was, the blade that you get with it is 6 teeth per inch. So it's quite a broad cut. So when you cut the briar, it leaves quite a lot of marking on it. So the one I bought was, I think it's 10 teeth per inch. You can buy 30 and you can buy really sort of very fine cut, but most of them weren't in stock. So I just bought the 10. Hopefully it'll be a bit of an improvement. They weren't that expensive. They're about £7-8 each. So we'll see if it's any good. If not, I'll wait till they're in stock and maybe buy a higher tooth count. Alright, here we go for the director's cut. No, I have not packed that right. Something's off with the packing. Hey Mike, how you doing? I mentioned you at length at the beginning of this video. Ooh, yuck. Well, I've opened a very generous package from Hector with a great selection of tobaccos. And so far, he's sent me a series of HU tobaccos, and we've so far smoked the Imagine, which is Virginia Perique. And then we smoked the Louisiana Broken, which is the Virginia Kentucky Perique. And we've progressed to Director's Cut, which is Virginia Burley Perique Kentucky. That's what we're about to smoke now. And we also got the, indeed, McConnell's Latakia Flake, which I've not smoked before. And the company that he ordered it with also sent me a large tin of this W.A. Larson aromatic, which I may or may not smoke. We shall see. Have you ever had any of the HU tobaccos, Mike? I wish it was a Rolex. You can read, can't you? It's a Seiko Kinetic Diver's Watch. Cheers, Rustic. It served me very, very well. It's a bit battered now, but it served me very well. I used to be into watches before I got into pipe smoking. Not that pipe smoking stopped that particular hobby, but I think I'd stopped that already before. But I did go through a few watches. I had quite a few Tag Heuer watches, quite a few. I haven't got any now. I've had a few Tissot watches, which I've got one left now. I've had a couple of Omegas, one of them which I actually got from my late father-in-law when I got married, but sadly I lost that watch. I actually like the more recent Omegas. I thought they lost their way a little bit with their design, and they've come back now with some really nice diver style watches. I used to really like the 007 Omegas. Nearly pulled the trigger on one a while back. But I've got to be honest, nowadays you've got to be so careful where you buy second-hand watches from. Especially on eBay, you've got to be really careful. There's a guy that I work with quite often. He's a videographer, and we see each other every so often at weddings working, and he's bought himself a really nice Omega watch. I don't know what the model is, but it's a lovely watch. I think he got it from a dealer, not retail, but still I think he paid about $3.5 grand for it. It's really a matter of taste. If I would have tried Erin Moore a couple of years ago, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it either. One thing you have to, I don't know how long you've been smoking. You say 14 years, okay. In my experience, and I've been smoking a lot less than you, but my palate has continued to evolve, all the time. You know, it has never stopped, really. And you know, you try it in different pipes. I don't know if you smoke filtered pipes or not, but if you don't, try it in a filtered pipe. Try it in a, if you only smoke briars, maybe try it in a different pipe. Maybe not a briar, maybe a meerschaum. Just try different things. I mean, you don't have to force yourself to like a tobacco, but that's the beauty of pipe smoking, is that there's a plethora of blends out there. Just smoke the ones that you like. For sure, you know, when you see other people smoking a blend, you know, you want to try it. And when I first started smoking, and I think probably the same is true for a lot of the new generations of smokers, pipe smokers, is that they're inspired by what they watch, especially if they're YTPCers. When I first started smoking Northwoods, you've got to know about Northwoods through the YTPC, through, at the time it was Jason Dagner was the first person I saw smoking Northwoods, and he raved about it. I tried it, I loved it, and I raved about it for a while. I mean, you remember back in the end of 2017 when I was raving about McClellans, and I still do, they're great, and I thought I'd never touch another Virginia. I thought it would always be McClellans, but I hardly smoke them now. Not because I don't like them, and not because I'm sort of squirreling it away so that it lasts. It's just I've learnt to enjoy other tobaccos, and it doesn't have to be those unicorn blends. Same with Penzance. I hardly ever smoke it. The 1820 flake is a really good match for it. You got tongue bite with a filter as well. Well, I don't know if you smoke your tobacco wet or dry, but if you smoke your tobacco straight out of the tin, I would just let it sit out on the tray until it almost feels crispy. In your case, you'll get to find your preferred level of humidity over time, and over 14 years I'd expect that you have anyway. But with something like an aromatic, especially quite a bright aromatic like Erin Moore, I would let it out as an experiment. Let it out until it's almost crispy dry. Most people don't want it that dry, but if your tobacco is moist to start with and you let it go crispy dry, it's only crispy dry to the feel. It isn't really crispy dry. If you let it out, say, for half an hour or 3/4 of an hour. If you leave it out for a few days, then yes, it will be crispy dry. But if you have an old tobacco which is dry before you've taken it out of the tin, then I'm not talking about that kind of crispy dry. I'm talking about a tobacco which is moist. You let it sit out for half an hour to an hour and it feels really dry. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it and see if it's better. Now, if it really has dried very, very thoroughly, and it has gone crispy dry, then it'll burn very fast, and you'll know that it's too dry. Take it back a bit, drop 15 minutes off the dry time the next time round, and try again. And just adjust the amount of time that you dry it until you find your sweet spot, and see how you go. The 40th anniversary, Andrew, and all of the, to varying degrees, all of the Christmas cheer blends, which 40th is Christmas cheer on steroids for me. That's how I view it. It's still got the DNA of Christmas cheer. They're fantastic. They really are unsurpassed. I don't think there's another Virginia blend which reaches the heights and the breadth and the richness and the depth and the spiciness and sweetness of the McClelland Christmas Cheer blends. Having said that, it's a genre of tobacco on its own. I've always said that. I find McClelland Virginias to be a genre on their own. When you take another good quality Virginia tobacco, you can't really compare it. That's what I found. I don't find that you can take some classics like say Full Virginia Flake, which is recognized around the world as a fantastic Virginia tobacco. You can't compare them. In my view, you cannot compare them. I find that the McClelland tobaccos stand on their own. So once you have for me anyway, once in my mindset it was like that, then I could enjoy other Virginias because I saw it as something different. In the beginning, I couldn't. For me, in my mind, this was a Virginia tobacco which was to beat all other Virginias. But as soon as I separated it out and said, that's a particular type of Virginia which is unique, then I could go back to other Virginias and enjoy them for what they were. Because in the beginning, I thought there's so much missing from this blend when I compared it against the McClellans. They're just so different. And once in my mind I'd separated it out, I could enjoy lots of other Virginia blends. Well, for aromatics, the general taste won't change because you've got a flavouring. So if you've got a berry flavoured or a cherry flavoured aromatic, it's always going to taste of cherry. But the question is if you can adjust the way you smoke a tobacco so that it smokes the way you like it. Obviously, a cherry tobacco is always going to be a cherry tobacco. Hey OCD. Yeah, we're smoking Director's Cut. We've been through a whole series of HU tobaccos this evening. I opened a package from Hector, and from right to left is how we've gone. We started with the Imagine, which is a vapor. Then we went over to the Louisiana Broken, which is a vapor and Kentucky. And that's a Vapor Kentucky, a Vapor Caber, Virginia Burley, Kentucky and Perique, which is what we're smoking now. Yeah, that's the problem with aromatics. If you're smoking it too hot, then it's gonna, as you say, be hot air. Well, there's a joke in there somewhere. Quaker, I'll let you say the joke. Or Josh. Come on, Josh. Your brain is twisted and warped enough to come up with a joke. Clearly mine is. Hey, Meeks. Well, everybody's got their own tastes, OCD. I've yet to try any tobacco which matches the McClelland 40th. That's not to say that there aren't plenty of tobaccos out there which are as good in their own right, but in terms of a tobacco that you like. So if you mark something out of 10, you could have McClelland's 40th being 10 out of 10, and you can have another tobacco being 10 out of 10. They just won't be the same type of tobacco, that's all. And if somebody could do a side-by-side with McClelland 40th, and actually, because it's a similar flavour, then I would be interested in that. Exactly, Hector. Clearly not part of the intelligentsia. I've been enjoying the St James's Wood, which when I first got it, I think I gave it away. I didn't enjoy it. But now, when I smoke it, it's delicious. But it's I think I mentioned it in one of my morning drives. It's a mark of the quality of the Virginias, because to me, it doesn't need the Perique. They're so spicy, their Virginias, so clovey and rich and mouth-filling. I just don't feel that the Perique adds an awful lot to their blends, because their blends are so full already. What do you think of it, Andrew? The good thing about McClelland tobaccos now is that anything that you pop, any tin that you crack, is going to have a couple of years age on it, minimum. So that's an advantage right there, straight off. Well, if you believe what they say, it's the quality of the leaf. They maintain that there's nothing added in terms of flavour. Some people claim that there is, but I would imagine there is certainly some casing. That there probably is, but no topping. I think 99.9% of tobaccos have casing of some kind. I mean, if you take, for instance, if you take Amphora's Virginia, which is supposed to be a straight Virginia, it's so sweet. There's got to be a pound of sugar in those 50-gram bags, you know. And that is a very tasty blend, by the way. Cheap and cheerful. Very cheerful. Hector, I can't really get my head around this blend. I'm talking the whole time, and I'm smoking it, and it's not bothering me. So that's a good thing. But I haven't got my head around the flavours. I'm probably going to have to do this one again to really appreciate any differences. I haven't really been focusing on it. I've been drinking coffee in the meantime, so that's clouding my palate. Is it the Kentucky or the Burley that Amphora are bringing out? Certainly looks like they're going for the full set. Oh, it's already out, is it? Okay. I wonder, Scandinavian group, which brand they're going to put on the Dunhill blends. Well, if you believe what people say, English blends, pure English blends, supposedly don't have anything at all added. Peterson? Oh, I hope not. Peter Heinrichs is a Scandinavian group. Oh, I see, not the Peterson, it's AC Peterson. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Andrew. I talked about it in my video the other day, the morning, I think it was yesterday's video. Friday's video is actually 2 videos put together. I think it was a combination of Wednesday and Friday, or Thursday and Friday. And I talked about the Dunhills. And I agree. I think they should do a new brand for them. This is HU tobacco. These are all HU tobaccos which Hector sent me. Well, I think I'm going to end off here and say once again thank you so very, very much, Hector. A really generous package. Very, very generous of you. Thank you very much. I am grateful, and I thank you from the depths of my heart. A beautiful gift, which I will enjoy. I look forward to seeing how these age. Much obliged indeed. I'll have to get some jars for these. So, Josh, Hector, Andrew, Meeks, OCD, Ken. Oh, hi Ken. Couldn't see you there. Thanks for joining. Cal Delta, David, and Josh. If I didn't say your name already, thank you very much for joining, everyone. And everybody else, Montclair, if you're still there. Very much enjoyed this evening. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Wish you all a wonderful weekend. And hopefully tomorrow I will get my bandsaw back up and running, and we'll start on something new. Not sure if I should start on another one of these which somebody's asked me to make, or perhaps do another sort of smooth pipe. We'll see. Anyway, hopefully I'll get the bandsaw up and running in good order. Thanks everybody. Great weekend, and I'll catch you on the next one.